Welcome to Talk Ottumwa, a production of Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress. On this podcast, we'll talk about the local businesses in Ottumwa to give you the backstory to their success. We'll also talk about the economic initiatives that are driving the progress of the community. And we'll talk about the issues that the community faces and much more. So stick around and let's talk Ottumwa. Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk Ottumwa. This might be our last episode for 2022. It is December 15th, and we've had a lot of good businesses come in here, but the business that we decided to focus on today is probably the one business in Ottumwa that everybody knows, and it's not only a good connector for the businesses in the community, but I would argue that for economic development, this organization is probably one of the most important organizations in the community as well. When the people that are going to the organization are multicultural, it's a place that builds community. It's a place that fosters good physical health, good mental health. There's no other place that we'd be talking about to round out a great year than the YMCA of Ottumwa, Iowa. And today we have with us the CEO and Executive Director, Garrett Ross. Welcome to the program, Garrett.
Good morning, Mark.
I just want to start off, I assume most people know who you are, of all people in this community at this point. So, but for anybody that doesn't, can you tell us just a little bit, before we start talking about the YMCA, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with the organization.
Absolutely, yeah. I am a Southeast Iowa native, born and bred. I've been around here for many years, pretty much all of my life. I graduated from Meddyville-Blakesburg and then further graduated from Indian Hills Community College. So I've been around here for quite some time. I actually started working at the Ottumwa YMCA in high school in their child care program, as a matter of fact, and found the love of my life when I started working there as well, my better half, and we've lived here ever since. I've always worked for the Y ever since then. In different capacities. It's always been a passion of mine to work with the Y and the many different program areas that we've got. But there was a period of time in which I was a child care center director in Oskaloosa for about 4 years. Enjoyed that very much. Very passionate about early childhood development. And shortly thereafter came back to the Ottumwa YMCA as the school age care and marketing director. So I worked with school age kids, did a lot of our marketing materials and promotions at the Y. And so I've been working there as a program director for about the past 12 years and loved every minute of it. So me and my 4 kiddos, I've got Catherine is 17, a 13-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So they're all across the board. So, but wonderful kiddos, wonderful family. We enjoy and love being part of Southeast Iowa. So, yeah.
Okay. How long have you been the executive director?
I have been the executive director now for December will mark 2 years,
okay,
as a matter of fact.
Well, let's dive right into it. 2 years, a lot of things have happened at the Y. You've made things move really quickly there. And one of the biggest things that I think really affects a lot of people here in the community is child care. And, everybody knows that we have a child care desert situation here in southern Iowa. And the YMCA has really stepped up to help curb some of those shortfalls that we have. And you've invested about $1.3 million into building a new child care facility here at the YMCA. So can you talk about that just a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. As I said, I'm definitely passionate about early childhood development and the needs in our community and so many communities, especially in the state of Iowa. But specifically here in Ottumwa, yeah, it's always been a difficult challenge for many families here to find quality and safe child care. And it seems like so often, you'll see something in the news, maybe once a quarter, that there was some kind of just terrible situation that had taken place in a child care either facility, and maybe a surprise closing, maybe some kind of serious injury in a child development home. It's just tough. It's really hard when you are entrusting your children, your most valuable asset, with someone else. So it's just hard to make that happen. So we really strive a lot to make sure that we have a quality environment for our kids at the Discovery Lane Child Care Center at the Y. But we knew that we wanted to, we've been talking about doing an expansion in our child care program for years. Obviously, the biggest challenge was, how do we make that happen? There's not a lot of money in child care. It's one of the biggest problems you see out there.
That's been a statewide issue for several years.
Absolutely. And you look at it in the state of Iowa, and 80% of child care centers are nonprofit because you can't make profit in child care. And there's several reasons for that. You can't necessarily lay that at the feet of any one, legislature or place or anything, but it is a lot of different things that come together to make it very difficult to offer a quality program in the state of Iowa and make it break even. But obviously with COVID hit and a lot of things changed. And one of the things that we saw change probably the most was how much the state was finally listening, or maybe not even listening so much as finally asking questions to the child care segment. The YMCA in the state of Iowa is actually one of the largest purveyors of child care in the state. Between our almost 50 facilities around the state of Iowa, we are the largest child care provider here in Iowa. So because of that, they started to reach out to us and they said, child care is a problem here in Iowa. How do we make this better? How do we improve the situation? What kind of things can we put in place to support child care? And we got to have conversations in rooms that we'd never been even a part of in the past. And now we've been not only invited, but encouraged to be there. So that made a big difference. And obviously from that, there became a large investment from the state in the brick and mortar support of expansion of child care throughout the state. So not only that, we had already been in conversations prior to COVID and a lot of this, having conversations with JBS here in Ottumwa as part of the Child Care Coalition, and they wanted to support the expansion of child care programming here in Ottumwa as well. So they had, and actually the timing of it couldn't have worked any better because they had already set to invest and support this expansion prior to the state even jumping in, which actually worked perfectly because we were also required to have some matching funds. So the support from JBS, which was about $600,000, was a huge investment. And really at that point we thought, oh my gosh, this is going to cover everything that we could possibly want to do, And then also COVID hit, and now all of our supply chain issues that we had, costs went up exponentially. We saw some of our construction costs go up 30 or 40%. I mean, it was astronomical. Certain areas were well over a double in price. So it was a real challenge for us. So when the governor came out with some of their support funds, it was once again a game changer and allowed us to really invest and expand our programming. So we've been working through this process for the last many months to get this really off the ground, and we've just recently finally got all of our classrooms open, and we have been able to expand our offerings for all of our program participants. And not only that, we've got a wonderful agreement with JBS, so that way they can help provide childcare to their employees as well. So.
And, you mentioned JBS a couple times here, and just to give credit where credit's due, a lot of people in this community, sometimes they don't hear or see some of the good things that JBS is doing. And $600,000 to help support child care, that's huge.
Oh, absolutely.
And, this is just one more thing that JBS has been a partner in with various community organizations that wouldn't happen if it wasn't for their partnership. So I think that some kudos need to be sent out to JBS for taking part in that.
Absolutely.
So how many seats are open for this child care?
So how many seats are currently open or totally available? So
totally available.
Okay, so initially we had about just below 100 available slots for child care. It was right around 98. Now after this, we are right about 150.
Okay.
So it added about 50 additional child care slots.
That's awesome.
Not only that, it helped improve and enhance our current space to make sure that we were brought up to code. Not necessarily, I shouldn't say code, but maybe brought up to best practice standards.
Yeah. Which, going back to the beginning of you talking about this, people can feel safe knowing that their children are well taken care of when they come to your facility.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard. I mean, like I said, I'm the parent of 4 kids, and every one of my kids has been through that program. It's hard to really instill that kind of confidence in families when they see this kind of scary stuff on the news. So we make sure that we do our best to provide that same environment the same level of care that they would want to see at their home, if not better. Everything from safety practices. Now our child care space, every square foot of child care space is now completely access controlled. We have an RFID system. All of our staff members have access cards. If you are not a child care staff, you do not have access to any of the square footage where child care is taking place during that time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a safety thing, you know. I mean, it's sad in a world that we have to step back and say, well, it's not going to happen at the Y. The Y is such a great place, you know. There's so many wonderful people and so many different cultures, and we're all just coming together, and we're just looking to support each other and be active and healthy and well, both mind, body, and spirit. But once again, even in that standard, we can't say that, you know. I mean, there have been, unsafe situations in a lot of different places. So we provide that secure environment, you know. And it comes down to simple operations of the classroom and how it operates, making sure that we have restrooms close available for all of our classrooms, even though primarily most of our clientele are 0 to 2. Still, we want to make sure that thinking into the future, if something changes, we want to be able to serve older age preschoolers as well. And obviously, there's plenty of our kiddos that are potty training all the time.
Right.
And that's its own kind of battle. So, but yeah, just making sure that we have bathroom access close at hand for every classroom. Simple things like that just change the way we operate on a regular basis. Making sure we have water access in every classroom all the time. That's important.
Yeah.
It's a really important thing. So that helps us bring up that standard. So it's everything from safety to quality practice to operations, everything in between. We wanted to make sure that as part of this upgrade that we shouldn't have to touch our facilities in any significant way for many years, 10 to 15 years. We should be functionally in a great place moving forward. So,
okay. Well, that's a good start for families, you know, having a place to take their kids.
Absolutely.
Let's move past the child care just a little bit. One of the things that we talked about prior to coming on the air was once they transition away from there, they get to enter into different programs and keep the momentum going with building that mind, body, spirit. So you mentioned some youth zones that you have.
Yeah, so we've got our back gymnasium, or our youth zone, as we call it. For the past many months, it has actually been kind of a laydown lot for a construction project. So it's kind of been almost a receiving and shipping depot for the best part of the last 9 months as we've been working through this expansion in the child care program. And so we're just getting back to clearing that out, clearing it up, and then getting it back into operation. But as we were talking, this youth zone is really geared towards our school-age kids. We really want to be able to open up our after-school programming again to our community. We've been having conversations with the Ottumwa School District on some transportation options we would like to see happen. There's a lot happening there, but we also want to make sure that we're getting the kids' input on when we're redesigning the space. Anytime you close a space for a period of time and you get the opportunity to reopen it, you've got an opportunity there, and you've got to make sure to seize it. And we want to make sure that we're getting some input there too. And I don't know if you've ever been into our back youth zone area.
Yes, I have.
It's kind of a fun, unique place. We have our loft back there. Usually for our older age kids, we've got lots of different modular seating up there. Some high tables, some chairs they can hang out and talk. We've got the couches they can convert however they want them to be set up. We've got the TV with the switch. Just some fun space that they can enjoy in a safe environment. If they need homework help, we can support that. There's been a lot of those things, but we've recently had some conversations with some high school age or middle school age students that don't necessarily see the Y as that place after school, which makes us say, okay, there's something we've got to do or change to make sure that we can be seen that way. I mean, you and me as adults, we see that. We see, oh, that's the Y. You know, when we're talking about they're looking for this kind of stuff. Well, the Y's got that.
Yep.
You know, but these, for some reason, the kids aren't seeing it. So why aren't the kids seeing it? And we want to have more conversations about that to say we want the kids to see us as a place to go as well. So how do we do that? We're going to be having some more conversations, but there are applications out there as well, and anybody interested can fill out an application for the YMCA's Youth Advisory Council. There's going to be 12 spots. These kids are going to help guide us in some of our decision making when it applies to youth programming. Mostly that teenage age group, teen, tween kind of age group, anywhere from, I would say, probably 12 to 16 years of age, maybe a little bit younger than that as well. But really, we're looking for middle school and high school students to give us feedback on what makes the Y functional for them, useful for them, engaging for them. So, and part of that, these kids are going to get any successful candidates as part of the Y's Youth Advisory Council is also going to be getting a free Y membership. So as long as they're engaged and committed, there's a couple of qualifications in there. You can't just sign up, put your name on the dotted line, and then you just get it for free.
Sure.
We want you engaged. We need your feedback. We want you to be part of that process as well. So the Youth Zone is a great space. It's a full gymnasium, but we do have a loft. We've got a room down below the loft as well that we usually use for like STEM science activities. We'll use it probably for some of our younger after-school participants. Obviously, when we say after-school, we can be talking anything from 14 years of age down to 5 years of age. So there's a wide swath. So we try to make sure to do our best to give those different age groups space to do their thing. So within that, we have space down below the loft. We do have our climbing wall as well. We're going to be doing some repair work on it before we crack it back open. And we're looking at some other opportunities back there. But like I said, the last thing that we want to do, the only thing that I hate more than spending money, I can be kind of cheap sometimes, I guess I've been told.
Well, that happens when you work for a nonprofit.
Right. You like to squeeze a dime out of a penny. And so the only thing I hate spending more than spending money is spending it twice. So I want to know what do they want. So when we invest in it, we're investing in the right stuff.
Right.
And trying to make sure that we get their feedback and their honest input on what they're going to be interested in as well. So we've been working through some of those things, but we're really excited. We're really looking to get this Youth Advisory Council up and going within the next couple of months. I know some of the applications are out there. If people are interested, they can stop by the Y, and we can get them an application as well. But we've got some people getting them out there to the schools as well, so anybody who's interested in being part of that, we want your input.
Okay.
We want to know how can the Y be useful to you. So, and actually the Youth Zone is kind of one of those creative spaces as well, which talking about our access control system again, during the day that's utilized for childcare purposes. So it's locked, it's controlled access. And then after that, once we get to a certain period of after school time, probably going to be about 4 o'clock, somewhere in there. Once again, talking with the Youth Advisory Council, what's our time need to be? So then that space becomes unlocked and open for the rest of our Y and our community to be able to utilize. So How do we make that happen? So yeah, we're going to want some of that information, and we can access control it, keep it safe, and keep it regulated as well. So yeah.
Speaking of regulated, and then moving on to our next age group, you recently, and by recently maybe last year or so, you have given access to the working folks in the community for 24-hour gym access, which is something that I know from a perspective of where I was before I got lazy and quit working out. I had trouble accessing services after hours because there really wasn't a 24-hour access gym at the time. Now you have that. So do you mind talking about that for just a second?
Absolutely, yeah. Our Y24/7 program has just hit its year anniversary in October. So we've been doing it for over a year now, and it's been a rousing success. It's a great opportunity for, like you said, I mean, there's a lot of working folks in our community, and with a lot of plants and different shifts and different types of work, standard business hours quite often just don't quite cut it. Now, from a business perspective, in the YMCA, it was always one of those challenges where we would often get requests for later on evening access. However, when we started to look at the usage numbers, it didn't quite support that kind of time. And so obviously, in any kind of business, generally the staffing is the expensive part. So we looked at the statistics and we said, okay, realistically, what is the time in which we really see the most significant fall off in numbers and participation? And what are other opportunities that we have available to create an alternative access for people at our Y? Our YMCA was built 50 years ago. It was finished in 1971. So we are over 50 years at our current facility, 51, and we're going to be hitting 52 next year. So it's been around the block. It's had many additions throughout the years, but it was not built or designed for any kind of 24/7 type system. So obviously to put that in place, there were a lot of things that we had to do. Obviously the insurance company had a fair say in the process as well.
I would imagine.
Yep, just making sure that everything was safe. But luckily, the best part is, though, yes, we took the step out here as the Ottumwa Y. we are certainly not the first organization to create a 24-hour access fitness facility. So we weren't the first, so they weren't too worried about us. They knew what questions to ask us, what things to point out to us, and things that we wanted to make sure that we watched very carefully as well. And with that being said, we made sure to drop in a new security system, including RFID access, which is tied in with a lot of the child care access card system as well. But along with that, we also made sure that we installed a pretty comprehensive security camera network as well. And that is accessible by myself or any of our leadership team at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then along with that, there's also a new fire alarm system that has been installed in the building as well throughout the entire building. And that's been kind of tough getting used to as well. Obviously, our fire alarm was code when the building was put in, and it's been upgraded a couple of times. But for the most part, we had a couple of sensors in our kitchen area, and then we had pole stations throughout the building. Now the YMCA currently has over 130 sensors throughout the building in every single room to detect smoke or heat or any kind of situation that could cause a dangerous situation for our members. We are also actually looking to expand that system to also be useful for any kind of active threat situation as well. So we're still working through some of that process, but we just wanted to make sure that the paramount statement was, okay, if we're going to do this, because we think it's a great idea. We know we've had people ask us all the time. You know, there's other 24-hour programs in the community, which awesome, they're doing a great job. But being able to have the full space available of the Y at night was a great opportunity for a lot of people. So when we really kicked it off, we said safety and security has to be the paramount statement here. How do we make sure that that is the safest situation? Is that increased lighting on the exterior of the building, which we had to do. We needed to add security cameras. We needed to add better access control systems. We need to make sure that there's safety within the facility, access to emergency phone if there was a situation that took place, any of those things. Not to mention, we also worked with our local law enforcement to provide significantly discounted access to all of our law enforcement uniformed officers, and that's both county and city. So we obviously just wanted to increase overall the presence of our law enforcement, whether on duty or off duty, over at the Y. So they actually can qualify for 24-hour access for free.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely. And they also get a significant discount on their membership as a whole as well, just as being a uniformed officer. And that's any uniformed officer in our area. So that's, like I said, both city police, that's also county sheriffs, and that's also anybody working in our jail as well. So anybody who is a uniformed officer, essentially, that does include jailers.
Okay.
They can get that significant discount. So we just wanted to increase that access overnight,
It's a great idea.
And not only that, give them the opportunity. That way they've already got the card on them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get access to the building. They can make it happen like that. So
cool.
Yeah, just, once again, we're just trying to make sure that we're providing the best possible experience for everybody. We had conversations with other Ys. Where do they find pitfalls? And also we talked with some people who had come from other facilities and said, what was the problem? What made you leave? Why didn't you want to be there? So we try to make sure that we monitor those things and we watch those things very diligently. There's a pretty extensive list of rules that you have to sign off on when you actually sign up for the program. But besides that, we monitor it every day. We check who's accessed the building overnight. Our staff review that footage and make sure that the people who are Access members are coming in, make sure that they're utilizing the facilities properly, and make sure that there's nothing nefarious happening inside of the facility that shouldn't be happening either. So.
Well, let's talk about the usage of the facility, some equipment upgrades that you either have done recently or are planning to do. You mentioned a little earlier cycle bikes.
Yes, yeah. Cycle bikes are always great. It's not often thought of quite often. Usually when people come into the Y, they're thinking about, hey, what's your treadmills look like? Treadmills is probably the first, the bread and butter of any fitness facility. So thinking about your treadmills, then you're talking about ellipticals, then you'll be talking about maybe some recumbent bikes, some tread climbers. We've got all of those things, some row machines. But the cycle bikes at the Y, they've been around the block for quite some time. As a matter of fact, we had a couple of wonderful members at the Y who helped support purchase of these older, they were Le Mans bikes is what they were. Great bikes, but they were used when we purchased them many years ago. I think it was somewhere around 10, 15 years ago we purchased these bikes, and they were probably, I think, 8 or 10 years old at that time as well. So these bikes have been around the block for quite some time. So we've recently decided to do an upgrade, and we purchased 8 new cycle bikes. They are Kaiser K3s. They use a magnetic resistance as well. It's very smooth resistance. The old bikes, they have basically kind of a press and go system. There's essentially a knob. You turn that knob down, it presses more pressure on a little leather band, and that leather band presses on the flywheel, and that provides additional resistance. Obviously, that can be good or bad, depending upon the quality of the leather that's being utilized at that point, or the braking system. It's just a turn knob. Everybody's kind of at a different level, so it doesn't really give you a lot of indication. So the magnetic resistance is obviously permanent. We don't have to worry about it. I think, 40,000 years for a magnet to lose its power. So I think we're good for
a couple of days.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I think we're good for the next handful of years. We're going to be utilizing these bikes.
It might outlast the building,
give or take. But yeah, these Kaiser bikes, they've also got cadence meters. So it's going to tell you your speed. It's going to tell you your reps. It's going to tell you your calories burned. And it's also got a level selector too. So a lot of times when you watch some of these online videos of cycling classes, they're going to say, oh, okay, kick it up to level 7. Well, on our old bikes, maybe that's 3 turns, 3.5 turns maybe. On the new bikes, it actually has a level indicator too, and it's just a simple little thumb knob, and you're just going to move it up and move it down, and it will tell you what level you're at in terms of resistance that you're being provided too. So cycle bikes are great. Obviously, we've upgraded the treadmills here recently, but we've added some new ellipticals, and I should say new to us. They were refurbished units, but they're only 2 years old to begin with, so made sure to put some of those new units in. But we're looking at what do our members want in the future. So we're thinking about down the road, there's probably going to be a member survey coming out once we have all of our new members come for the New Year's resolution goers. First quarter is usually very busy for the Y, so this is just an opportunity for us to ask those new members, what do you want to see? Have you ever heard of a Jacob's Ladder?
I have not.
Okay, so it's essentially a piece of fitness equipment that is a continuous ladder, essentially. So it's set on about a 40-degree angle, something like that, and you climb onto this unit, and it basically just cycles. It's kind of like a continuing climbing wall, if you've ever seen one of those.
Okay.
But essentially, it's in a ladder format. So you literally get on this thing, and I think you can adjust the grade percentage, but you just keep climbing a ladder. It is infinite, and you just keep going and going. We've heard good things about them.
That just sounds torturous.
Torturous, but a great workout in a short period of time.
That is true.
That's, like I said, you're going to be working your shoulders, your legs, upper body, lower body, everything in between, cardio. Okay. So we want feedback, If people are interested in something, and you know what, even if you're not a Y member and you're like, this would be cool to have in our community, because from what I hear, I don't believe that there's anywhere here locally that's going to have a Jacob's Ladder. So could be a good opportunity for the Y. Yeah. So we want to try new things. Here recently we put in a new treadmill. It's an air runner treadmill. So it has no motor. It still has a lot of the access control information. So it's going to tell you how far you're going, how fast you're going. It's got a little lever for resistance, and it's got a kind of a concave design. So it's a little bit easier than just like a flat treadmill, but it has no motor. You wouldn't think that by the price of it, but it's literally just powered by the person. And so it's really well designed for people who are going to be doing high intensity training.
Okay.
So if you are a sprint kind of person, we have to have conversations with some of our younger members sometimes that like to get on the treadmills and let me turn this thing up to 12, and they get on there and they run for about 4 seconds and they realize it's too fast and they step off and they turn it down. It's like, guys, you're going to get shot off the back of the treadmill doing that. Don't do that.
Which makes for a great TikTok video, but not good for the machines.
Not good for the machines or the kids either. I mean, that's, like I said, you got to watch these things. These are very powerful motors that run these treadmills. They will not stop. If you fall down, they will just push you right off the end of it. So I've been there, done that. So this air runner treadmill is a really great opportunity. It's a different style and design, but you can walk on it still. If you just want to walk, get on it. It's great for your hips because it doesn't have that flat design. It's got that soft, gentle curve. Okay. So you don't have so much of an impact on there. If you're looking, like I said, for high-intensity training, if you're doing training for any kind of sport that's going to have like some explosive type cardio, baseball, we're going to go from 0 to 100 mile an hour as fast as you can, football even as well. That air runner treadmill is perfect. You can be on there. You can get a soft, steady jog going, get your heart rate up, and then you can go for a full sprint And then as soon as you can sustain that full sprint, then you can slow back down. And it ebbs and flows with you very effectively.
Okay.
So those are the things, that we're trying to work on and say, what do our members want? We want to try new things, and not everything's going to be a huge success. We know that. Yeah. We want to have a tolerance for failure too, to say, we tried it, didn't quite work, let's try something else until we find what our members want, what our community needs.
Well, one of the things that I believe, as somebody on the outside, that has been a huge success for a lot of years, not only for the younger members, but for your working adults all the way up through retirement. My mother, when she was still alive, she was a high utilizer of it, is the swimming pool.
Yes.
So would you mind talking about that for just a second?
Absolutely, yeah. Our 4-lane swimming pool is considered small these days. Compared to many competition pools, 4 lanes is probably the bare minimum of really what you're going to see. So most pools, competition pools, are going to be anywhere from 6 to 12 lanes. So our little 4-lane pool is small, but it is mighty. We have worked diligently on that. Probably about a year ago, our board of directors really sat down, and with the amount of maintenance that it takes to keep a pool up, it is very hard to keep it up and keep it up functionally. And about a year and a half ago, there was just a fair amount of deferred maintenance on our pool, and we really had to make the big decision to say, we're going to have to fish or cut bait on this. We either need to say that this thing's getting filled in, and we're going to have another large fitness studio, or we're going to invest the money, and we're going to fix this pool up to make sure that it's going to be fully functional, operational for us well into the future. And obviously, there's so many facets that apply to that. It's not just people who come in and do water aerobics. It's not just people who come in and do lap swim at lunchtime. It's not just our swim team. There are so many different programs that utilize that pool at the YMCA. So as a board, we said we didn't think that we would be the Y without our pool. And so we made the large investment, and we started doing a lot of the work necessary to fix it, including circulation pumps, including heating systems, including filtration, including chem controllers and everything in between, not to mention the HVAC for the space, everything in between. There was just so much that just hadn't been done for a very long time, just because there was lack of funds. In the world of nonprofit, we unfortunately have to choose between worse and more worse quite often. That's
problems or the problems.
Exactly. It's you just got one or the other, and so we really just said we're going to have to bite our lip, and we're going to have to make the investment, and we have. And probably in the pool itself, we've made over an investment somewhere over $100,000, probably closer to $120,000 we've invested in that pool, and still a little bit more to do as well. And it's everything from the heating system. We completely revamped, put in a brand new boiler system and heating exchanger for our pool heating system as well. We are working on a circulation pump trade over. That's going to be coming, and new electrical services to provide for all of those things. Once again, the pool was installed 50 years ago. And actually, fun fact, did you know that when the Ottumwa YMCA's pool at its current location was put in 1971, it had carpet on the pool deck?
Interesting.
Carpet. Had indoor-outdoor green carpet on the pool deck, as a matter of fact. Yeah,
that seems like it could grow some mold after a while.
One of my favorite things to do is have conversations. Sherry Peniston, who is our business manager at the Ottumwa YMCA, she's been working for our YMCA for 43 years now.
Okay.
She's been working for us for many years. So if there's something that we don't know about the Y,
she's the one that knows.
Generally, Sherry knows about it. So I remember her sharing that with me one time. We were looking at some old newspaper clippings from some historical documents, and she said, yeah, there used to be indoor-outdoor carpet on the pool deck. And I was like, that is the craziest. I don't see how that could drain effectively. I mean, the humidity would be terrible, like you said. The mold would be difficult. Now, obviously, it's chlorinated water, so that helps in a significant way. But still, it was really neat to see that as well. But obviously, we don't need more. We've got tile down on our pool deck now. But we've had some HVAC issues, some air circulation issues. We had a lot of condensation this last winter. We've got most of that taken care of, we're pretty sure. But there were some times in our pool area last winter when it was raining condensation into our pool. It was pretty intense, to say the least, especially when we hit some of those really cold days last winter. But we've made a big difference. And not only that, we generally keep our pool right around 84 degrees, 84 to 85 degrees, which is generally at the real top end of what you want to keep a public access pool at, or a multi-purpose pool at, specifically because we're trying to service our kids who are in swim team. And they don't need the water hotter because we don't need them passing out in the water, But we also do have senior ladies that are getting into the pool for water aerobics. And having it warmer makes all the difference to them. And it really helps with so much of the ailments that they're going to see,
Sure.
especially in recovery and alike. So we do our best. And now with that new heating system, we can heat that water up nicely now.
Great.
But we just try to play this balance, of... Usually our lap swimmers, our swim team wants it a little cooler. Usually water aerobics and some of our water walkers want it a little bit warmer. So if everybody's a little unhappy, we've just about hit the sweet spot.
Right on.
We try to do our best to make sure to manage that. It's about 86,000 gallons of water, so heating at 1 degree can take a lot of effort, and losing a degree can also take a lot of effort. So.
Yeah. We have talked about a lot of things. A lot of things require money. Obviously, bulk of your revenue is coming from memberships, but I would be remiss not to talk about other funding options for the YMCA. And obviously, that's going to come through donations, be it corporate or private donations. So I want to ask, for those people that might have been blessed enough to have a few extra dollars in their life, if they support your cause, how do they donate?
So there's a couple of ways that they can donate. And actually, right now, as part of the holiday season, we have a couple of giving trees in our lobby. So there's a handful of ornaments that are hanging on those trees right now. And each ornament, there's 2 different color ornaments. One is red and one is green. And each one of them has a specific indication. And so I believe, and some of my staff put this together. They did an incredible job. So if I say it incorrectly, I am remiss. But there's a sign on top of each tree that tells you what's what. But I believe the green ornaments, you can pick off one of those ornaments and you can come to the front desk and you can essentially make a donation equivalent to what that ornament would be. So essentially it might be a new youth basketball. And so, hey, a new youth basketball costs us $10. So you want to donate a new youth basketball to the YMCA, you can stop by. You can make a donation of $10, and we'll make sure that makes it to the sports department. Or you want to buy a new life belt for a kid in swim lessons. Or you want to purchase a summer membership for a kid. We can make all that happen, and that's a monetary donation, and that can happen right there in the lobby. Or you pick off one of the red ornaments, and that's an actual, if you are the person that likes to go and physically buy the item for the organization, you pick off one of those red ornaments, and you can actually go buy the item. So like a standard basketball. We need a standard regular size basketball. You take that ornament off, you go buy the item, you hand that item to the front desk along with that ornament and say, here you go. And so that way you actually got to donate that physical item specifically. Might be a box of crowns to our Kids Cove program. It could be anything in between there, but those are the things that maybe aren't specific to the program as much, and so there's more opportunity in different areas. Obviously we've used equipment that works better and that doesn't work as well. So those are the items that we're a little bit more specific on. Say it's easier for somebody to donate monetarily to help support us purchasing that.
Sure.
Like we don't want to get life belts from just anywhere. Obviously, these kids are doing swimming lessons, and we don't want somebody going plunk while we're working with another kid. So we use a certain brand because we have felt that the quality is there and the safety is there for it as well. But for some of those things that are a little bit more general use, those are the things that people can go out and purchase or bring to the Y. So that's a great opportunity. And we're always running our annual campaign. And that annual campaign is what helps pay for scholarships. So scholarship is available to anybody. And it's a sliding scale. And you don't have to reapply for scholarship at the YMCA for different things. So when you come and apply for what we call the People Helping People Scholarship Fund, and we call it that because donations are what make it possible, then you will qualify for scholarship throughout the YMCA. So you qualify for a scholarship for membership, for child care services, for youth basketball fees, for swimming lessons, everything in between. So that way you don't have to keep filling this paperwork out for every different program that you want to do. You fill it out once, it's one sheet of paper, and you complete that, and that helps us provide a scholarship to you. And it's a sliding scale. We tell people, apply, because the worst we can say is no, or you don't qualify. You might qualify for 5% off. You might qualify for 55% off. We don't know. Mm-hmm. But obviously most of them slide to the further end of that. But regardless, there is also a little box on that application that says, tell us more. Because we know that life doesn't land on a form. We know that sometimes our worlds are just difficult and hard. So tell us about those things. And that's the box that allows us to go outside of those normal parameters to help support people that just need a hand up. They don't need a handout. And we just want to support our community and those families that are in there as well. So it might be for, somebody who's got an adult, a grandparent, or maybe a parent who says they just had hip surgery. They really need to get into the Y, because if they're not going to get moving, they're not going to recover. We can help make that happen for them.
Awesome.
And it could be the kid, it could be the youth where, hey, mom's working so many jobs. She needs somewhere for this kid to be able to hang out after school in a safe environment. Absolutely. We can generally, like I said, especially a lot of times, a youth membership's only $26. We can usually cut that in half on most scholarship situations, so we can get kids into the Y for well under $20 a month. So, like I said, we want to reach out there and we want to get connected. We want to support the community. The Y is here because of the community, and so we want to be a reflection of that and support our community in any way that we can. So those donations go to make a meaningful and lasting impact right here in Ottumwa. They don't go anywhere else. They don't go to corporate or anything. I mean, our YMCA is governed by our board of directors right here in Ottumwa, which is made up of people right here in Ottumwa who make those decisions on who we support and how we support them. That's what your dollars are going to go to when you donate to that annual campaign. So anytime, we are always looking for support and donations, and or maybe sometimes it's new programming as well. So we do a couple of programs that are really just meant to support different groups in our community, such as restorative yoga for cancer patients. There's a lot of trouble and anxiety and health issues that come along with cancer and treatment thereof. We have a yoga program that is specifically designed to help restore body function, help alleviate pain, all of those things. And through some support at the Legacy Foundation, we can make it happen for cancer patients free of charge.
That's great.
Yeah. Or Rock Steady Boxing, a program that literally works with generally seniors, but anybody with Parkinson's disease. It's a boxing program specifically designed to help them fight the onset symptoms of Parkinson's disease. That's a terrifying disease when you go and sit down with your doctor and they diagnose you with Parkinson's, and they say, well, you feel terrible now. You're going to feel worse in a couple of years, and eventually it's going to kill you. That is a abysmal diagnosis, and it's terrifying. And the Rock City Boxing program is just such a great opportunity for us to reach out and support these individuals and make sure that they can fight back against those symptoms. And quite honestly, a lot of times we can help them stave off years of those symptoms as well. So there's lots of programs. So once again, we're always looking for good feedback from our community. How can the Y help? What does our community need? I'd never been really exposed to the Parkinson's. I guess I should say how great the need is for support programs for people with Parkinson's disease. I had no idea that there were so many people in Southeast Iowa that needed that kind of support. We have people who drive from Pella down to our YMCA to participate.
Wow.
Because they don't have access to it anywhere close to them. So there's a lot of people, and sometimes it's hard for people to get over that hump of coming because they want to fight back. But man, I'll tell you what, if you want to feel those warm fuzzies, if you want to bring a tear to your eye, you go to one of those Rock City Boxing classes, and I guarantee you will not come out feeling better about humanity and our willingness to support each other. Hands down. Such a great program. So yeah, absolutely. Anytime anybody wants to make a donation to the YMCA, the annual campaign, they can designate it. If they want it to go to a specific department, they can absolutely go to that. They can go to a specific program if they would like. They can just designate that right at the front desk of the YMCA. So we're always willing and happy to support. And we've also got our YMCA endowment now as well. And we're always looking for ongoing support from that. We're looking to reach our first initial $100,000 in that endowment program. But we're still pressing forward on that. And really that endowment program is going to be there to help with new programs and help with capital improvements to the facility. Like we know, nonprofits so often, dollars are the problem, so we're trying to create...
And dollars are the solution.
Exactly. So we're trying to create an endowment to really help make that happen and make sure that our YMCA is thriving and vibrant for our community and its vitality for many, many years to come. Obviously, we know the best time to start a endowment is 20 years ago, but That's all right.
Yep.
We've got about 5 years under our belt. We're making some progress. So anybody who would like to commit to supporting that, we would be more than happy to share more with them on that as well.
Awesome. Well, I think what we can take from this conversation today is the YMCA, number one, is probably from a sense of community, one of the pillars of the city of Ottumwa. And number two really focuses not only on, the retired folks or the working folks or the teens, tweens, early childhood care, but we're starting people off from birth to death, really. It's almost the one organization here in Ottumwa that really focuses on the entire life of the individual, making sure that, as you said, body, mind, spirit are at their absolute peak through the entirety of life. So I applaud you for that. I applaud your organization for that. And just again, as a reminder, if you have the means, please help the YMCA. Nonprofits, they don't do it solely for membership funds. They don't do it from some ancient profit. They are operating at the will of the community, and they need help. So if anybody is listening that has the financial ability to help their own family in the future, help other families as we sit here today, please go over to the YMCA and make a donation. Garrett, thank you for coming in today. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mark.
And everybody, I hope you have a safe and happy holiday season. Have a great new year. Garrett's looking forward to seeing you for your New Year's resolution time at the beginning of the year. So feel free to stop into the YMCA, sign up your membership very soon.
You bet.
Everybody, stay tuned for the next great episode of Talk Ottumwa.